always got to be so careful around your kids. They're like little sponges picking up everything. But, I mean, what are you supposed to edit? What are you not supposed to edit when you're around your kids?
Yeah, I need you. I'm asking for opinions. I'm soliciting for advice. There are times when I post things on social media about my son and parenting, and I'm not looking for advice, but I get it in my DMs. This time, I'm going to embrace it. I'm actually looking for you to weigh in, okay?
This is when you won't get any.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's only when you don't ask for opinions again. Thanks.
So, do you or do you not cuss in front of your kids? Do you use foul language in front of your kids? Now, our pediatrician, who is the same pediatrician that Bert and Stacy, had for their boys, funnily enough, didn't even know that. He was just the guy that we chose, and I really like him. He's a great doctor, and we like his bedside manner and his demeanor. And he told us once during one of Jimmy's checkups, don't use profanity at home unless you want your kids to use it right. Meaning use the words in the proper way they're supposed to be used, right? So I do not think that foul language is bad. I do not think profanity is bad. I use profanity. Obviously, there's rules and regulations with the FCC on the air, but if you listen to our bonus content, I don't think it makes you any less of an intelligent person, any less of a kind person if you use profanity. It's a word, okay?
Let me give the phone number out real quick. 1-855-BERT-SHOW.
So in our household, Bart and I, we don't curb our words.
You're throwing them around left and right. The F-bombs, the S-bombs.
I mean, I wouldn't say we're throwing around left and right, but we don't censor ourselves in the home. And there have been times when Jimmy has repeated what we said. And let me tell you, when a 3-year-old uses profanity, it is freaking hilarious. I don't care who you are.
You're not allowed to laugh at it, though, because if you do, and a 3-year-old knows that's the way to get the laugh, they will use the word over and over and over again.
Yeah, and so, for instance, it was so we had friends come over last night, Sean and Marty, who are a lovely couple. And we don't get to have dinner with them often, but when we do, it's always a great time. So Sean and Marty come over to the house last night.
Is it F and Sean and F and Marty?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Is that how you refer to them around the house?
And they come over, and Sean's an accomplished chef, so he makes dinner, brings over a nice bottle of wine. It's just a fabulous evening. And then there's Jimmy there. And, we're having adult conversation, and Jimmy's sitting at the table, and we're not, Bart and I are not censoring ourselves and how we're talking or whatever. And then Jimmy had the napkin ring holders, and he was putting them on his chest. And I'm like, oh, are you making boobies? He's like, Mama, I don't have boobies. I have nipples. He goes, Mama, you have boobies. And then he's putting the ring holders on my boobs or whatever. And, it's just, it's...
Oh, what a sweet moment.
It was just like a classic Jimmy moment. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Mama's got boobies. I go, but how about we,
What a nice little shot of America. Right. This is America.
Over our grilled steak Caesar salad.
It's really wonderful.
One to remember.
But we have definitely, used the S word, the F word, the H word. And funnily enough, he might repeat it in that moment, but he doesn't use it in his everyday conversation. I honestly don't have a fear of him going, he's got camp all this week. I don't think he's going to go to camp and call a kid an MFer just because Bart called one of the dogs that one time.
That would be funny, though.
At some point, he's going to use it out there, though. At some point, he's going to use it, and it's going to come back to you, and he's going to say, it's like the old commercial, I learned it from you. Yeah.
But is it, I guess an improper, I'm a believer in respecting people's spaces, so I don't need him being in certain situations, say at his preschool, which is at a church, dropping these words because you want to be respectful to the people around you. So I do abide by that. I cuss in front of you guys because I know you guys cuss and it's not a big deal, right? So I do think you have to mind your audience. I'm not over here willy-nilly thinking my son needs to drop F-bombs, but I'm just saying, are we doing him a disservice by not curbing our language in front of him?
I know growing up for me, my parents took it very seriously, and I used to get jealous because all of my friends' parents didn't seem to take it that seriously at all. They could curse, but I couldn't. To this day, I don't curse around my parents because it just always felt uncomfortable for me. But I genuinely don't think whether they allowed us to curse or didn't, it would have made much of a different of an impact in my life.
I think it's not necessarily doing them a disservice, but I think it is important just because despite the fact that I do think the fact that we can't say certain words is kind of stupid because they're just words. At the end of the day, the reality is the social norm is that those words hold a certain kind of weight and belong in a certain context. So if you use it in everyday language and then he puts himself in a situation where he just thinks that this is a normal word, he may find himself in he may not grow up with the kind of context that he needs to know to understand social cues of when to use it and when not to use it. Like it may become so normal that he doesn't have like that inner conscience saying, maybe I shouldn't say that word in this setting.
And you are making an impression on somebody when you use those words, if you like it or not. So if he is using those outside of the house.
Well, I don't care about that.
You don't care about him using those outside of the house?
No, I don't care about other people's like impressions of me or of him. Like that's not a concern. I do want to be respectful. Like I have a friend who has a kid his age, and because Bart and I are loose with our language, I have to check myself because other parents, that's not their MO, and that's totally cool if that's how you want to fly, and I want to respect that. And I remember saying something, and she looked at me, she goes, so help me, if my son goes back and he uses that word, I'm gonna hurt you. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot.
We at home, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. We kind of curb our cursing, but stuff slips out all the time. The kids have repeated it, and it's just an easy conversation. We realize we're not going to shield them from that. We'll continue to use it in the correct context. We just say, this is a word you use at home only.
We've taken a different tact on it. We demand that they cuss with every sentence. And if they don't,
I know how your home rolls.
and we don't, we correct them. Hey, Zoe, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. Hi.
Good morning, everyone. So for a little context, my parents, we grew up Mormon, and so they were very conservative. My children are they're 5, 6, 10, and 12. And I am okay with them cursing. I have taught them how to curse in the correct context. I have taught them not to curse people out. So they are allowed to curse in their sentences. They're allowed to curse in their everyday life. And they are homeschooled, so they're not around other kids like all day, every day. However, they are not to be corrected by anyone, and I don't allow it. I think it's fine.
Okay.
And I think that it doesn't make them less intelligent because they curse. And I'm actually raising them to be, not employees. So they will hopefully, be entrepreneurs and be not the standard, societal norm. But it's okay for them to curse. I'm okay with it.
All right. Thank you very effing much for calling. Here, Laura says, she does not let her kids cuss. Hey, Laura.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, your side. This is a no now.
This is a no. Yeah, and I agree with what I've heard. I think you and Abby mentioning. You can tell Jimmy this is not something that you do at home, or this is something that only happens at home. But when it happens outside, and then that kid goes to tell their parent, that parent's going to start forming an opinion: A, of Jimmy, B, of you. Okay, what other things might be going on in that household? My kid hears it. He hears it on TV. I know he hears it from school. And if I do slip up and say something, I'm I'm a grown up. That's why I can do it. Like many other things. That's why I drive, right? Because I'm a grown up. So I used to cuss like a sailor, but not, and I do at work, but not around him.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but again, I can sincerely say I don't care what other people's opinions are of my mothering or my son. So
here's a fun game to play when they get a little bit older than that. 11, 12, and they're experimenting with more words and stuff like that. I've done this with my kids too. You tell them that they are allowed to cuss for 60 straight seconds. They can say anything they want for 60 seconds and then no more cussing for the rest of the week, right? And you also make the rule that, but once you repeat a curse word, the game is over. they go about 4 seconds deep into they are out of curse words. They only have like 3 in their arsenal, and then they just start making some up.
Have you seen the videos of the kids that get busted saying a bad word, and the parents like, all right, go in the bathroom. You stay in there as long as you need to get all the curse words out, but the parent has the phone set up in the bathroom, and the kid's looking in the mirror, and they're like, pew, 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 pew. And mom's knocking on the door, and she's like, are you done yet? And they're like, not yet. And they're like profanity.
They start making up words after about 12 seconds.
The Bert Show.